When did you finally stand up to a toxic boss? My boss, Rachel, had a reputation for throwing her employees under the bus whenever anything went wrong. She'd smile to your face while crafting emails to upper management blaming you for her mistakes. I'd watched her destroy 3 careers in my department alone. I was determined not to become victim number 4. I worked in medical device sales, where hitting your numbers meant everything. I'd exceeded my targets for 2 years straight, building relationships with 5 major hospitals in our region. Rachel would often take me along to meetings with these clients, excluding me from follow-up communications. After these meetings, she'd tell the executive team that she had rescued the accounts. I kept detailed records of every interaction, sale, and client communication. My breaking point came after landing Westside Medical Center, a $3 million annual contract. I spent 18 months courting their purchasing director, made custom presentations addressing their concerns, and negotiated pricing that worked for both. The night before the final signing, Rachel said she'd handle the meeting alone. When I objected, she said the client requested her alone. Something felt wrong, so I texted my Westside contact who confirmed none had been made. The next morning, I arrived at the hospital 30 minutes early and waited in the lobby. When Rachel entered, the shock on her face was priceless. She pulled me aside, whispering, "What are you doing here? I told you I'd handle this." I smiled politely and said, "Just supporting the team, Rachel." Throughout the meeting, she attempted to marginalize my contributions, often interjecting with lines like, "What Daniel means is," and "Let me clarify what he means." Dr. Peterson, my contact, appeared confused, but we completed the signing. 3 days later, our company announced quarterly awards. I sat stunned as Rachel was recognized for single-handedly securing the Westside account after months of stalled negotiations. She accepted the award with insincere humility, citing values teamwork while ignoring me. That evening, I received an email from our vice president congratulating Rachel on the Westside deal to all in sales. Something inside me snapped. I spent the weekend compiling a dossier, email threads of my work on the account, calendar invites for client meetings, texts with the purchasing director, and recorded sales calls where Rachel acknowledged my leadership on the Westside opportunity. Monday morning, I requested a meeting with our VP, Janet. When I entered her office, Rachel was there, wearing a smug smile. "Rachel thought it would be very helpful to join this matter," Janet explained. "Perfect." For 45 minutes, I methodically presented my evidence, keeping my tone professional and matter-of-fact. Rachel's face transitioned from confidence to confusion to barely contained panic. When I finished, Janet sat silently for nearly a minute, then asked Rachel, "Do you have anything to add?" Rachel launched into a defensive tirade about team contributions and how I was technically involved, but not the driving force. Janet held up her hand, stopping Rachel mid-sentence. "These emails are in your words, Rachel. You clearly identified Daniel as the lead on this account multiple times." The meeting ended with Janet asking for time to review everything. 2 days later, I was called back to Janet's office. Rachel wasn't there. Janet apologized for the situation and revealed that after speaking with other team members, a pattern of Rachel's behavior had emerged. "We value integrity above all else," Janet said. "We'd like to offer you Rachel's position as regional sales director." 1 week later, Rachel was escorted from the building. As she passed my new office, our eyes met briefly. I simply nodded and returned to reviewing the personnel files of my new team, already planning how to rebuild the culture of trust that Rachel had systematically destroyed.